All right, so get ready to dive into something that's, well, a lot more interesting than it might sound at first. Water damage.
You're telling me.
Seriously, though, you guys send in this article, The Untold Cost of Water Damage. And wow, let's just say, really opened my eyes to a whole other side of this. I mean, we all know a burst pipe is bad news, right?
Right.
But this article, it dives into all these sneaky ways water can mess things up. Like over time.
It's one of those things of like out of sight, out of mind,
Yeah.
right? Until it's too late.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet everyone listening has like walked into an older building, maybe smelled that kind of musty odor.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That, my friend, could be a sign of something much bigger, a water issue lurking beneath the surface.
Okay, see, now that's just a little unnerving. So this article, it breaks down water damage into two main types, structural and invisible. And let's start with the structural stuff first, because, I mean, we've all seen what water can do to a building, right? Like, over time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And while that visible damage, it's alarming, it's the hidden stuff, the consequences
Yeah.
you don't see right away, that can really cost you big time.
Hey, yeah, that makes sense.
This article, it actually like breaks down how water affects different building materials, and it's honestly a little alarming when you really think about it.
Yeah, well, and like for instance, did you know that wood, like regular untreated wood, can lose, get this, half of its strength in just a few years because of moisture?
It's crazy, right?
Right. It's wild. So that like that charming old porch, with the water stain might not be so safe to stand on?
Yeah, and that's just it, right? It's not just about like aesthetics, how it looks. It's about safety.
Mhm.
You've got compromised beams, foundations that are weakened. The whole building's integrity is at stake.
Yeah.
And it's not just wood. Like, we think of concrete as, what, pretty indestructible, right? The
Oh,
foundation of everything,
like
literally.
literally, yeah.
But even concrete, it can deteriorate if it's exposed to water for a long time. Like,
Yeah.
the article mentions these things called micro cracks.
Micro cracks.
Yeah, so as you might guess, they're like these tiny, tiny cracks.
Mhm.
They can develop in concrete because of moisture. Think of it like a tiny crack in your car windshield. You ignore it. It's no big deal, right? But eventually it can become a huge problem.
So these micro cracks, they're like a ticking time bomb for your foundation.
Basically, yeah. I mean, they can lead to like more widespread cracking, spalling. That's where the concrete starts flaking off, basically, and then ultimately a much weaker foundation. And it happens gradually, so you might not even realize it until it's a major issue and a major expense, too.
Yikes. And don't even get me started on what water does to metal. Rust. I mean, that's the enemy of, well, pretty much any structure. It weakens beams, bolts, anything metal, really. Makes it much more likely to collapse, especially if there's any stress on it.
Right. And that's a good point to bring up because it's not just about the individual materials failing. It's the domino effect it can have. Like one weak link can bring down the whole thing, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And we haven't even touched on the invisible consequences yet, which, honestly, those are often even more insidious.
Yeah, and that's actually what I wanted to get into next. This is where things get really interesting and, to be honest, kind of concerning. Because we're talking about the stuff we don't necessarily see. Mold, the air quality, even like electrical hazards all hiding behind our walls.
Hiding in plain sight.
Right. So, okay, we have to talk about mold. Because this article, wow, it really gets into it. And it's way more than just like a gross thing you might see in your bathroom, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It can actually like thrive in those damp, dark spaces that we often like overlook, like inside walls, above ceilings, even in our HVAC systems.
Yeah. You don't think about it until...
I'm getting itchy just thinking about it.
And the thing is, it's not just an aesthetic problem. Like, it's not just that it looks bad. Mold is a health hazard.
Okay, right, yeah.
Being exposed to mold over a long time, it's been linked to breathing problems, asthma, infections, allergies, you name it.
It's like this silent threat just kind of lurking in our homes, our workplaces, and it's incredibly common after water damage, this article says.
It is. It is. And the worst part is, it can grow for so long without you even knowing.
Yeah.
Just silently releasing spores into the air.
Ugh, okay. That's enough to make me want to go rip open my walls right now.
Go do that.
But, okay, before we all grab our sledgehammers, let's maybe move on to something a little less, I don't know, anxiety-inducing, like electrical fires.
Now you're talking, this is a critical point the article brings up, the impact of water damage on your electrical systems.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Water and electricity, they do not mix.
Not a good combo, not at all.
No. Water damage can mess up your wiring, damage outlets, even turn appliances into potential fire hazards.
Yeah.
And the really scary part, you often don't even know it's happened until it's too late.
See, and that's putting it mildly. I was reading that the National Fire Protection Association, they found that electrical problems caused by water damage,
Yeah.
leading cause of fires, especially in commercial buildings.
Wow.
That's a very real risk. So, okay, we've covered, the crumbling walls, the health hazards, the looming threat of electrical fires. Honestly, it's a lot.
That's a lot to process.
But the article doesn't stop there, right?
Not even close.
It goes on to talk about the long-term costs, like the financial burden, and even the impact all of this can have on your mental health.
And that's what we're going to unpack right after this quick break.
So before the break, we were talking about how this isn't just about, like, immediate repairs, right? It's about your finances, your mental well-being. It's a lot.
It really is. This is where, like, those hidden costs, they really start to add up. Like, there are studies in this article that show that if you don't deal with water damage, it can actually, like, shorten the lifespan of your building significantly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We're talking like up to 30%, especially for wood and metal structures.
30%. That's huge. So
Yeah.
it's not even just the immediate stuff. It's like your building is on, like, a faster track to needing major work later on.
Exactly. And imagine this.
Yeah.
You're about to buy your dream home, right? It's old, got character, but, maybe a few water stains here and there. Seller says, oh, it's nothing to worry about. But you remember that 30% lifespan reduction.
Right.
That could mean, like, needing a new roof years earlier than you should.
Yeah.
Or dealing with foundation problems down the line. That stuff adds up fast.
Oh, yeah. Talk about a ticking time bomb for your bank account.
Right.
And speaking of costs, didn't the article mention something about, like, increased maintenance too?
Oh, absolutely. The American Society of Civil Engineers, they found that if a building has a history of water damage, you're often looking at double the maintenance costs. Double. Compared to a building without that history. It's just this constant drain on your resources.
Yeah.
Like that leaky faucet you've been meaning to fix. Seems minor, but over time, that constant moisture, it can cause rot, mold, a whole bunch of expensive problems.
It's crazy how these, like, seemingly small things can become such a big deal. Really makes you realize that, you know what they say? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Right.
And speaking of cure, you know what really surprised me in this article? The part about the psychological effects, like, of actually living in a place with water damage. I never really, put those two things together before.
Yeah, it's something people don't always think about.
Yeah.
But it makes sense, right? Like, our environment, it affects us big time. Living with the stress of water damage, that musty smell, worrying about, like, potential health risks, it takes a toll.
Yeah.
The article even mentioned sick building syndrome.
Ugh. Yeah. That does not sound good.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's basically this, like, combination of symptoms. Headaches, fatigue, trouble breathing.
Yeah.
And people get it when they're in a building that just has, like, bad indoor air quality,
Yeah.
which we know can be a big side effect of water damage if it's not dealt with.
It's true. And, I never thought about it like that, but I used to live in this old apartment, and there's this leak in the ceiling. It was always there. And looking back, I was so stressed, tired all the time. I just thought it was city life, But maybe it was that leak.
It's definitely possible. Like, the impact on your mental state, your emotions, just as important as the physical damage in a lot of ways.
Wow. So it's like this whole other layer. And I think that case study in this article, it really brings it all together. The structural stuff, the financial burden, the health risks. It really shows how fast things can get out of hand.
For sure. It's a perfect example of, like, what can happen if you don't take care of a problem right away. So this case study, it talks about this homeowner, right? They had this small leak in their bathroom,
Okay.
but they didn't think much of it.
Oh, no.
Fast forward a few months, that tiny leak, it turned into this huge mold problem. Rotting wood, their electrical system was messed up.
I'm cringing. I can only imagine what the repair bill on that was.
Oh, it was bad. Tens of thousands of dollars. And it could have been avoided if they had just taken care of that leak right away.
Wow. Okay. So talk about a cautionary tale. But okay, so what can we do? The article talks about prevention, right? There's got to be some hope here.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of it comes down to being proactive, being aware. Think of it like going to the doctor for a checkup. You might feel fine, but those regular visits, they catch problems early. Same idea here. You got to do regular inspections of your properties, especially like basements, attics, around plumbing. It makes a huge difference.
Makes sense. So catch those little leaks before they become big problems?
Yeah.
Okay, but what about the hidden stuff? The stuff you can't just see, you know.
That's where technology comes in. Moisture meters, infrared cameras.
Oh, okay.
They're like those high-tech tools doctors use to see inside you.
Right.
But for your house, they can help you find hidden moisture before it becomes a huge issue.
So it's like giving your house a regular x-ray. That's pretty cool. But like beyond all the fancy gadgets and stuff, I imagine just like good old-fashioned maintenance is important too, right?
100%. Like fixing those leaky faucets right away, making sure you've got good ventilation, especially in bathrooms and kitchens, things like that, and then investing in good waterproofing. That's huge. Those little things, they make a world of difference.
They do. They do. Okay, so I'm taking notes here. Regular inspections. We've got the moisture detectors, fixing things quickly, and making sure there's enough ventilation. Got it.
It seems like the big takeaway here is just like, you got to be on top of it.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just assume that, oh, I don't see any water damage, so it must be fine.
Yeah.
You got to be aware, you know?
Right.
Watch for potential problems and then deal with them before they become a big headache.
So true. I got to say, this whole conversation has really been eye-opening. I mean, I used to think water damage was like an inconvenience.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, that's annoying.
But now I'm seeing it as this serious issue. Like, wow, the consequences can be huge.
They can. But the good news is, with a little knowledge, a little effort, you can avoid all that stress and expense.
Oh, yeah. Knowledge is power. Well said. The untold cost of water damage. You know, it really got me thinking about something.
What's that?
So the article, it's mostly about our houses, buildings, right?
Right.
But what about all our stuff?
Our stuff. What do you mean?
Well, like, we talked about how water can damage wood, concrete, metal, all of that.
Right.
But what about, I don't know, like that old antique dresser in the attic? Could that be warping because of all the humidity up there? Or what about my books in the basement? They're on a shelf, but I mean, is that even enough?
Oh, that's a really good point. We often think about the big picture of the building itself. But yeah, our everyday things, they're vulnerable too. And the damage might be subtle, you know, but it can still be really bad.
Right. It's like this whole other world of potential water damage that we like never even think about.
It's true.
Well, on that note, I think we're out of time for today's deep dive. But hey, you know what they say, knowledge is power, right? Be sure to check out the article, get all the details on the hidden costs of water damage. And in the meantime, stay curious out there. We'll catch you next time.